So, what's the best case scenario when it comes to dating or relationships or marriage or what have you? And we really got to start thinking about this stuff and how we should structure our relationships or if we should have them at all as men. And there's something very specific that brought on this topic. I'll share with you in a second. But you need to know what you're actually signing up for when it does come to relationships. And for those of you younger guys, you got to be really wary of this video and this topic, okay? We're going to cover all that in this video. If you like this content, scroll down, hit that subscribe button, baby. I'm going to keep posting videos. I'm never going to stop until I hit that 1,000, all right? So, what brought on this topic? And what's the best case scenario? And the reason why I titled the video, I don't know what I'm gonna title it yet, but something like that. It's, if you think about it, the best case scenario, if it feels like what we think in our mind is like marriage, white picket fence, happy family, happy life, children trotting along, and then with a dog, right? That seems very nice, doesn't it? It seems very wholesome, and it's kind of something that we all want. And I think on some level, every guy wants that. And I think every guy wants that because the alternative to that is like pure degeneracy, right? So if I look at all my buddies who are not married, who don't have kids, what's really missing there is like a sense of deeper purpose in their lives, right? And then all they end up having is like gambling, drug addictions, alcohol addictions, TikTok addictions. They're just degenerates, man. Do you know what I'm saying? And okay, what brought up this whole topic? Diary of Jufus time, okay? What brought up this whole topic was like, so I got a girlfriend, right? Whatever, situationship thing. I don't the non-label relationship, okay? And we were talking about what happens if she gets pregnant. She's not on birth control, and I'm like, if it happens, it happens, whatever. And she agrees because it's like, she would make a good mom. Man, again, back to the whole title of the video. What's the best case scenario here, right? So here's kind of how this whole thing is structured. She lives with her mom, right? And her mom is very, not too elderly. She's like, her mom's like 70, I think, or something like that. But she's maybe got like 10 or 15 years left, 20 years left, or it's actually a long time. It's actually a long time if I think about it, right? That means my girl will be like 50. You know what I'm saying? That's a whole different train of thought, right? But she basically takes care of her mom. They both live together, right? And I'm like, so her period was late by like 3 days, and I just got a text yesterday saying that she got her period, and I was like, I think she actually wants a kid, which is funny, but then I was like, I felt sad and relieved a little bit, so because I do want a kid, but then back to the title of the video, what's the best case scenario, right? The best case scenario, there isn't one. If she got pregnant, I mean, right? I can't let her, because the Canadian law prevents me from letting her live with me. And I'm not going to live with her mom. But then how do we raise the kid? So it's so screwed up. So it actually does kind of feel like a little bit of a psyop where like the liberal government is trying to keep me from having a kid, right? Or take the ultimate risk in my life's assets, right? So it's kind of screwed up. So I was thinking like the best case scenario, and this is all going to come back to you, don't worry, but this is kind of how it relates. The best case scenario is if I like rent my place and we move in together to another place, but then we also can't have any evidence that we lived together, so I have to keep my mail coming to my place while renters are here so that the government can't say that we were living together in common law so that she gets half my shit. And then we also need like a common law prenup. And then her mom also has to come move in with us too. And then now I gotta take care of an in-law mom too. And I'm like, what am I doing? And I had this, it's like, I don't know, I don't know what to do about that, because I'm like, so that's why I was relieved that she got her period, right? And I was like, man, if she actually was pregnant, I really gotta sit down, and I really gotta write down and think about what the best case scenario is here, right? And how I'm gonna structure this. That's what brought this whole video up, right? And then it got me thinking, what's the best case scenario in general for a guy? And I think it differs based on your age groups, because if you watch the last video, you know that I was talking to that 20-year-old virgin kid, right? And I think the best case scenario for the 20-year-old virgin kid is much different than a 40-year-old established man, right? And then there's everything in between. So like, I told the kid, because he doesn't have any assets, he doesn't have any risk, and he's religious, right? I told him, I'm like, yo, the best case scenario for you right now might actually be to get married, if that's what you want, and you want to test it, right? And the reason why I thought that, and I'm like, because he doesn't have anything. And if the girl that he marries also doesn't have anything, and then even if they get divorced in 10 or 15 years, let's say, he'll be 35, maybe 40 years old with a couple of kids, and then that part of his life is finished. And he can start at 40, ready to go. And that's not a bad outcome, man. That's pretty good. You know what I'm saying? That's like the best case scenario, right? Now, the thing is, if he has nothing, it's kind of like when I got married. We both didn't have it. We were like in our early 30s, so we weren't. We both had equal assets when we got married. Like, she had an apartment, I had a house, but we had the same amount of debt and mortgage payments and all that. So when we got divorced, nothing bad happened. It's like, oh, you just keep your shit, I'll keep my shit, ends up being the same anyway, right? After my divorce, though, my net worth skyrocketed. We'll save that for another video, dude. Why being single is the fastest way to get rich, dude. Oh, buddy, we'll save that for another one, okay? But so with this new girl, if I were to get married to her now, it's like, okay, come on now, you know what I'm saying? The risk is, it's not possible. It's not possible, right? So the wealthier you become, the more risk it is to actually take that risk, right? The younger you are and the less you have, the faster you should get married, it seems like. That way it's like, it doesn't, you're not as salty if you get divorced, right? Even if you get divorced in 10, 15 years, but at least you guys built your assets together. You built a business together. You made your payments together, right? So when you split and it goes 50-50, it's not like you lost half of your life's work. You're just losing, she's getting what she earned and you got what you earned, kind of thing. So it's less salty, right? But anyway, let's say, for example, here's the crazy shit, right? So back to the whole picture of like the kids, the dog, the white picket fence and all that shit. This is kind of where shit gets a little gruesome, or not gruesome, but sad. It's like, if you go through the statistical data of that actually happening, right? We've established this in previous videos, that you only have an 8% chance of actually staying married past the 10-year mark and actually being happy. So you have an 8% chance of that actually happening. 55 is divorce, and then 25 of that 50, or 25% of the remaining 45 stays together but are miserable, like for the kids or for their poverty, whatever. And then 8% of that actually stay happy, right? So you have an 8% chance. So the vision you have in your head of the dog, the kids, the white picket fence, and you growing old with your soulmate and all that shit. It's funny how when we imagine that, we don't imagine like the 10-hour work days, the dishes, the diapers. Like we don't imagine the work. We only imagine like the reward, I guess, like the feeling of fulfill. That's what we're imagining, really, if you think about it. The feeling of fulfillment of achieving a life's purpose, right? It's funny. But then, so if you remove that 8% chance, right? What's the best case scenario? The scenario that I'm in, maybe? It's like it depends who you ask and who you look at, right? But the best case scenario then seems to be if you were to get married, the best case scenario is to get divorced after that 10-year mark or whatever and somehow get out scot-free. I'm a perfect example of that, right? So I think we were together for like 6 or 7 years. I got out scot-free, no damage done, right? And then there's no animosity between me and my ex. I still see her as a part of my family, right? And it's like, that's the best case scenario. And then, because you would think the best case scenario would be if you stay together and being miserable. That's actually not the best case scenario. It's getting divorced amicably. That's the best. That's what you can. So if you get married or if you enter a long-term relationship, the second best case scenario is getting divorced or breaking up and not hating each other. That's option 2, right? That's great, right? And then option 3, I guess, would be to stay married but be miserable. Option 4 would be to get divorced and hate each other and go through the divorce grinder, like the courts and all that stuff. So you have an 8. So it kind of sucks, man. This kind of goes back to the. This kind of goes back to why you should really optimize to be a Chad and not a provider. Because the best case scenario of you going the provider path is an 8% chance of you actually making it. The version of that we have of making it, right? But if you're a Chad, the version of what's the best case scenario looks a lot different, right? If you're a Chad, the best case scenario for you is like you are single, and you have multiple situationships. Kind of like this is kind of how the Tate brothers structure their relationships, and I believe there's that Southern guy with the hair, whatever his name is, Justin or something. He structures it the same way. All those like red pilly type dudes. Cooper dude, that porn star guy, the bald porn star guy, whatever his name is, he structures it the same way. What it is, one guy, multiple girlfriends, kind of like how Muslims do it. Multiple girlfriends, and each girlfriend kind of lives at their own place, and they take care of the kids. And then they have multiple kids with multiple women. You also have to be extremely wealthy to go that route, right? Because you have to pay for all those kids and the housing for all those women. So that's a whole different level of that. I'm pretty sure that would be beyond any of us, it's beyond me and beyond anyone watching this content, right? But that's the best case scenario. That's a pretty good scenario. You get to bang 5 girls all the time, and you have kids with all of them. That seems kind of complicated to me. How the hell would you manage that without you need like an AI agent to manage that shit. Who knows, right? I would say the second best scenario, this is kind of the one that I try to fit in personally, is I have like a main girl, and that's like kind of the one that you would be okay having kids with, but you're monogamish, I think is what they call it. You're 99% committed to that one girl, but if you go on a trip somewhere, or you get drunk one night, you have a little fun on the side kind of thing, but you're very safe about it and you don't screw around kind of thing. You're very respectful to the main girl, right? And then if she gets pregnant, she gets pregnant. But you have your life structured in such a way to where she can't attack you for your finances. That's the key. Or she can't attack you for your resources, that's number two. That's kind of what I'm trying to structure. Monogamish with no repercussions of the law coming after me, right? And the situation I have now would actually work really well for that if it wasn't for the grandma, the mother-in-law. Just because that's a huge thorn in the whole, or a huge wrench in the whole plan, right? Because you can't just be like, ditch your mom. That doesn't work, right? Actually, maybe I should get the grandma to raise the kid too. Actually, no, I don't want that because what if she drops the kid because she's too frail or something? Nah, never mind. That's a whole different, again, it's tough, man. What's the best case scenario? You gotta think about this shit, brother. You gotta think. When you're dating a girl, just random aside here, when you're dating a girl and you're looking at her, think about what's the best case scenario. And the male human brain has a funny tendency to not want to see objective reality, right? We already know that. And you'll if you're in the honeymoon phase with the girl in the first 6 months, it'll be really tough for you, not until you get a lot of experience. When you get a lot of experience, you don't really get the honeymoon phase anymore. You don't give a shit, right? You can be much more objective much more quickly. So if there's a crazy bitch who's bipolar, or let's say there's a girl I know that's really cute. She's really funny, she's driven, she's just good in every single way, but she smokes cigarettes. And so for me personally, when I look at a girl like that, I'm like, my brain wants to ignore the fact that she smokes cigarettes. It wants, I can feel it. It's oh, cigarettes aren't that bad. I'm like, no, right? Because what's the best case scenario? The best case scenario is that she doesn't die of lung cancer. And what's the percentage of that? And what's a highly probability of option number 2? She gets lung cancer in 5 to 10 years. I gotta take care of her. I lose my spouse, and maybe my kids are motherless now because she's an idiot and smokes cigarettes. So when you actually think about what's the best case scenario here, it's that is not the best case scenario. I'm not gonna date a smoker, period. I will never date a smoker. It's such a stupid habit, man. It's kind of like dating an alcoholic or a drug addict, or there's just something wrong there when they're doing that shit, right? Cigarettes. But anyway, that's an example, right? So back to the Chad path. The first one is the Tate way of structuring it. I think the second one, the one that I try to approach, is probably the one that most men should aim for. I think this is the most stable one in 2026. Or there might be one level below that, maybe, where it's the best case scenario is you're monogamous with a girl and you maybe live with her, but you don't have any assets together, but you are very good at like dread game. What I mean by dread game, it's not active dread, it's passive dread. It's what Rolo talks about. It's you live with a girl and you're monogamous, but you guys go out partying together and she sees other girls hitting on you. But for that to happen, you have to kind of stay in the gym. You have to keep your social skills up. You got to be funny. You have to like maintain your value. Do you know what I'm saying? And that one's particularly because if you pick option number 3 there, what's the best case scenario of that one? The best case scenario is you're still back to an 8% chance of that working out, except maybe you have a better exit plan now. But that's still better than marriage, of like the provider marriage. Do you know what I'm saying? So you ideally, for most men, and if you're watching this content and you're following me, for most men in 2026, you're gonna be like right in that area there, of like, because let's be frank. When I was in my 20s, the reason why the Tate thing doesn't make sense to me personally, it's not a cope, by the way. You can just go and test it, but like, oh, he doesn't want 5 girlfriends. It's like when I was in my 20s, and I was dating around and going clubbing every single night, texting, going out on dates, getting to know girls, Tinder, all that. Dude, it takes a lot of time. Wow, does it take a lot of time, dude. I didn't, I would do shit like stay up till like 4 a.m. on like a Wednesday and then go to work at like 8 a.m. on like a Thursday just to party with girls. Like it was insane, dude. No, you can't do that forever is what I'm saying. And then like you forget what you tell one girl, and then you bring up the same story to the same girl because you think it's a different girl and shit. And it's like, it's exhausting, dude. So like the top one where they have multiple wives or whatever, that would be too exhausting for me, man. I just dealing with one woman is like enough work as it is. Like they're a lot of work, dude. Like they have to like. They're so fucking needy, dude. Like, needy in terms of like, God, man. Like, this is a personal gripe of mine. It might be different for other guys, but I hate taking care of another human. I viscerally despise it. So the more useless the girl is, and the more help she needs, a lot of guys really like that because they perceive that as like their way into that relationship. It's like she needs so much help. I can be the knight in shining armor and rescue her from all of her problems. Go test that and see what happens, by the way. For me personally, I fucking despise that shit, dude. I hate when they rely on you for like the most basic of things. Like if we're talking about like something super complicated that's in your field of expertise, that's fine. But if it's like, man, like scheduling like a hotel or like scheduling a vacation and they just like suck at it. Or like here's one that happened to me recently. She booked a hotel, and it was like the wrong day that we were supposed to go. I think you know what? I think they feel the same way about useless men, but I encounter it so much more when it comes to women too. Don't get me wrong, and this is a total tangent aside, man. But so I get to the hotel, I'm like, oh, you fucked up again. You know what I'm saying? I hate that shit, dude. I hate incompetency so much. I hate taking care of another human so much. So having 5 of those, the idea of having to take care of 5 women, I would go nuts, brother. But anyway, you want to be somewhere right underneath that, I think, because The one that I try to go for is the monogamish with lack of repercussion and lack of law fucking me over. That's the one that I try to go for. And I think that's the one that most guys should try to go for because it offers you the most freedom to do what you want, the least amount of repercussions. You're not tied down technically, but you also really care about the girl and you want what's best for her. Like, you're not like a piece of shit. Like, you're still in a relationship with the girl, right? You take care of her. You get a sense of like closeness. You have someone to go to like CVS with on the weekends or Costco. Like, you have that connection, right? And if she were to get pregnant, you know she would be a good mom. And you know, again, they have to agree to all this too, by the way. You can't just like, you have to be very open about your structuring with them, right? Which I am with this girl. But then, so she gets pregnant. You're like, okay, so if you get pregnant, then I'll pay for the kid, obviously, and I'll make sure the kid is taken care of and all that. But you are not getting a penny of my money. And you have to be very clear about that. If you get pregnant, you ain't getting a penny of my money. And I will structure that you can't avoid child support, but you can avoid alimony, right? So you have to structure the entire housing situation in such a way where she can't screw you over with the law. Funny enough, when you do it that way, they're much less likely to fuck around and find out because they know they don't get rewarded with a divorce or a breakup, right? Actually, if you were actually a provider male too on the right side here, you should also structure your life that way. It's unfortunate, but you have to. But anyway, that's my best case scenario now. And I think until the laws change, funny enough, I think China, clearly this is an issue. Because China, though, just came out with a law, I saw a headline for it, that 50-50 default assets is now expunged, where the default now is you keep what you entered the marriage with. Hey, I mean, that's pretty good, man. So if like the Canadian or the US government set that up too, it's like your net worth is your net worth when you enter a marriage. And when you break up, you keep all that. I would be much more likely to get married again, dude. Because that would, if that ever does happen, we'll have to rediscuss this entire topic. But clearly it's an issue because China just implemented that. So like, men are catching on to this shit. It's like, why? It's because it's not fair. It's literally not fair. Like, let's just be real. Real talk. It's not fair that a woman gets to, or a man, it goes both ways actually. It's not fair that you get to sign a piece of paper under the guise of being in love with somebody and then get entitled to half their net worth. That's not fair, dude. It's not, that ain't gonna be that. So, think about it. What is the best case scenario? Does the girl smoke? What's the best case scenario? Is the girl a drug addict? What's the best case scenario? She stops? She relapses in 5 years? This girl that like kind of seems violent. What's the best case scenario? Always when you're dealing with a human, I should say men, friendships as well. When dealing with a human, what is the best case scenario? And flow chart that shit, brother. And do the math. Find out what the percentages are of your best case scenario with that woman. And all of a sudden, you're going to become much more selective, dude. If you found this content useful, scroll down, hit that subscribe button, buddy. Subscribe that shit. I'm going to go all the way to 1,000 subs. I'm determined. Share the video with somebody if they can make some, if they can derive some value from it. And I'll see you in the next one.